Jake never thought much about the old radio he bought at a yard sale. It was just a cool vintage piece for his apartment. He didn't even know if it worked. One night, unable to sleep, Jake decided to try it out. To his surprise, it crackled to life. Through the static, he caught snippets of music, old-timey stuff he didn't recognize. As he fiddled with the dial, a voice came through clear as day. "Hello? Can anyone hear me? Please, I need help." Jake froze. This had to be a prank, right? Some rebroadcast of an old show? But the voice continued, desperate and afraid. "If you can hear this, please respond. I don't know where I am. It's dark. I can't get out." Hesitantly, Jake spoke into the radio. "Hello? I can hear you. Who is this?" The response was immediate. "Oh, thank God. My name is Sarah. I don't know how long I've been here. Please, you have to help me." Jake's mind raced. Was this real? He asked Sarah questions, trying to figure out what was going on. Her answers were vague, confused. She didn't know the date or how she'd gotten wherever she was. Over the next few nights, Jake found himself drawn back to the radio. Sarah's voice was always there, pleading for help. He started researching missing persons cases, looking for any Sarah who disappeared under mysterious circumstances. His friends thought he was losing it. "It's just a radio show," they said. But Jake couldn't shake the feeling that this was real. One night, Sarah's voice came through differently, clearer, somehow closer. "Jake," she said, "I think I know where I am now, and I think I know how to get out." Jake leaned in, eager for answers. "How? Where are you?" "I'm in between," Sarah whispered. "Not quite here, not quite there, but I've found a way across. I just need an anchor." The hairs on Jake's neck stood up. "What do you mean? Someone to trade places with," Sarah said, her voice suddenly cold. "Someone like you, Jake." The radio crackled loudly. Jake felt a tug, like something was trying to pull him in. He scrambled back, heart pounding. Sarah's laugh echoed from the speakers. "Too late, Jake. You've been listening for too long. The connection's already made." Jake tried to run, but his legs wouldn't move. The room around him began to fade, replaced by darkness. The last thing he heard was Sarah's voice, no longer through the radio, but right beside him. "Thanks for the trade, Jake. Enjoy the void." As Jake's apartment rematerialized around her, Sarah smiled. She'd finally found a way out of the radio void, leaving Jake trapped in her place. The true horror wasn't just that Jake had been tricked. It was the realization that sometimes the voices calling for help are the ones you should fear the most. Story 2. Megan's job as a night security guard at the old Parkview Hospital was usually uneventful. The place had been closed for years, waiting for demolition. But lately, things had gotten weird. It started with the lights. They'd flicker on and off in empty rooms. Megan blamed faulty wiring, but the electrician found nothing wrong. Then came the noises. Footsteps echoing down abandoned corridors, whispers just on the edge of hearing. Once, Megan could have sworn she heard a child crying. Her coworkers laughed it off. "Place is haunted," they joked. Megan didn't believe in ghosts, but she couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. One night, doing her rounds, Megan saw a little girl standing at the end of a hallway. She blinked, and the girl was gone. Must have been a trick of the light, she told herself. But the girl kept appearing, always just for a moment, always vanishing when Megan got close. She started keeping a log, noting times and locations. Megan dug into the hospital's history, looking for answers. She found old news reports about a girl who disappeared from the children's ward in the 80s. Never found. The sightings increased. Other guards reported them too. Objects moved on their own. Cold spots appeared in the middle of summer. Management brought in a paranormal investigator. He set up cameras and sensors throughout the building. For days, nothing happened. Then one night, all hell broke loose. Every piece of equipment went haywire. Cameras caught glimpses of shadowy figures. EVP recordings picked up voices begging for help. In the chaos, Megan saw the little girl again. This time, she didn't disappear. Instead, she beckoned Megan to follow. Heart pounding, Megan followed the girl through winding corridors deep into the hospital's basement. They came to an old storage room, long forgotten. The girl pointed at the wall. As Megan watched, stunned, the girl faded away. Megan approached the wall. Something about it seemed off. She pressed against it, and to her shock, it moved. Behind the false wall was a small room, and in that room, preserved by some quirk of the building's air system, were bodies, dozens of them, adults and children alike. With growing horror, Megan realized the truth. The disappearances, the strange events, it wasn't ghosts. It was the victims, their spirits unable to rest, trying to reveal a decades-old secret. Parkview Hospital had been home to a killer, someone who'd used the chaos and privacy of a busy hospital to hide their crimes. As sirens wailed in the distance, Megan understood the real terror. It wasn't the supernatural events that were scary, it was the fact that a monster had walked among them, unseen for years. And who knew if they were really gone? The ghosts had done their job. Now it was up to the living to bring justice to the dead. Story 3. Alex had always been fascinated by old things, so when he stumbled upon an antique shop in a forgotten corner of the city, he couldn't resist going in. The shop was filled with relics from the past, each with its own story. But it was an old mirror that caught his eye. It was tall, with a tarnished silver frame intricately carved with strange symbols. The shopkeeper noticed his interest. "That mirror has quite a history," the shopkeeper said. "It's said to be haunted." Alex chuckled. "Haunted, huh? I'll take it." He brought the mirror home and placed it in his living room. That night, as he lay in bed, he thought he heard whispers, faint and distant. He shrugged it off, attributing it to an overactive imagination. The next few nights, the whispers grew louder. They seemed to come from the direction of the mirror. Curious, Alex decided to stay up late and observe. As the clock struck midnight, the whispers became clear words. "Help us!" Alex's heart raced. He approached the mirror and, to his shock, saw figures moving within it. They were blurry, indistinct, but their faces showed fear and desperation. Determined to understand what was happening, Alex researched the mirror's history. He discovered that it had once belonged to a wealthy family in the 19th century. The entire family had mysteriously disappeared one night, leaving the house abandoned for years. One evening, as Alex stood before the mirror, the figures appeared again. This time, a young woman stepped forward. She looked directly at Alex, her eyes pleading. "Please, help us," she said. "We're trapped." Alex asked how he could help, but the woman only repeated the same words before fading away. The next day, Alex returned to the antique shop seeking answers. The shopkeeper explained that the mirror was cursed. It trapped the souls of those who died tragically within its reflection. Desperate to free the trapped souls, Alex sought out a medium. The medium instructed him to perform a ritual at midnight, using candles and an ancient incantation. Alex followed the instructions, standing before the mirror as the clock struck 12. As he chanted, the room grew colder. The figures in the mirror became clearer, more defined. The young woman stepped forward again, and this time she reached out to him. Alex felt a cold hand grasp his. Suddenly, the room was filled with a blinding light. When it faded, the mirror was empty. The figures were gone and the whispers ceased. Alex felt a sense of peace, knowing he had freed the trapped souls. But that night, as he lay in bed, he heard a new whisper. It was different, more menacing. "Thank you for freeing us," it said. "But now we are free to roam." Alex's blood ran cold. He realized too late that the souls trapped in the mirror were not innocent victims, but vengeful spirits seeking release. The mirror was gone, but the spirits now haunted his home, their presence growing stronger each night. The true horror was not the mirror itself, but the realization that he had unleashed something far worse. Like the video if you enjoyed, and subscribe for more horror stories.